discuss of a topic that is very interesting, which is about how social media can make or break PI claims. And last episode, we talked about PTSD after an accident. So today we'll talk about the effects of surveillance in social media on personal injury cases. Before, I wanted to ask you a question before we get more into detail. Is it getting more difficult nowadays to prove injuries were caused by an accident to the insurance companies, and why?
It has become a little bit more difficult in the last couple of years. March 23 of 2023, the tort reform law took effect, and that could be a subject of a whole new podcast. But there was a lot of negative things that negatively affect us in that law. The statute of limitations went from 4 years to 2 years. If you're more than 50% at fault, you no longer can make a claim. Mm-hmm. The future medical expenses have now been curtailed. There's a lot to it. So that made it a little bit more difficult. The law's always been difficult in Florida because we have the PIP law. Florida's a PIP state. Since 1972, we've had PIP. And part of PIP is a tort threshold. So you got to prove one of these four things for our clients to get any money for pain and suffering, for any non-economic damages. Mm-hmm. So we'd always have to prove it. So that's something that always there, but we have to prove that either death, significant scarring, significant loss of a bodily function, or permanent injury within a reasonable degree of medical probability. And we grab onto that one most of the time, unless the clients have scarring. So we've always had that we have to overcome when you make a PIP claim. But the biggest thing, I think, is tort reform. And the law that I mentioned is just an example of it. But tort reform has been going on for more than a couple of decades. And it's kind of an organized effort. You can do another podcast on tort reform, too.
We're getting more topics here.
It's an organized effort to change how people think about cases. They want people to think that the lawyers are the bad ones, that the people who are injured are the bad ones, and the insurance companies are the good ones. So part of that is in these lawsuits, there's a big verdict, and everybody hears about it. Recently, the $200-something million autopilot crash here in the Keys at the Tesla, $200-something million, everybody, wow. And the lady that spilled coffee on her lap, she got $2 million, and people are like, oh. And it gives impression that juries are just giving away money, and people are getting money when they don't deserve it. And some of these commercials I don't like that we see from us lawyers, that you won this money, it makes it sound like I won the lotto. Yeah. And those things are all bad. When the insurance company wins cases, nobody hears about it because it's not something that's newsworthy. So they win all the time, but no one hears about it. And people just get this impression that all this money's given away. My insurance is so high because of these cases. And we see that when we interview a potential jury during jury selection. We see it all the time. So that's another thing that we're up against. So when we start a trial, we would think that we start both even, but we don't. We feel like we start like at a disadvantage, and we have to have such a good case that eventually we overcome all these disadvantages, and that the tort reform law and tort reform in general and the PIP statute, all that are disadvantages we overcome. Yeah.
I have a question. Yes. Because you just brought up the whole insurance company thing, et cetera, but that they're making it tougher to go against them. You want them to look like the good guys, et cetera. They're giving away money. So I don't know if you've seen on Instagram lately, at least in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been very common, but you'll be scrolling and then there's a lot of reels or ads or whatever about insurance companies, probably brokers or marketing companies of the insurance companies, trying to sell you cheaper insurance. And then when you get that insurance, you realize that all they're really doing is lowering your coverage or selling insurance that has no BI.
All right.
So
they don't tell you.
It's messed up, right? Because it's all these people driving with no insurance, and then some people have these crazy policies, and then the ones who have the crazy policies end up paying out all this money to someone who has minor injuries. Sometimes, obviously, like real injuries, but then there's all these people that get hurt by somebody else who has no BI on their policy, and then people like you already know that it's like a huge issue, but then the insurance companies are pushing for these lower coverages. It just, to me, it doesn't. I don't
make
understand
sense.
like why.
Because Florida allows it. That's a problem.
But
It's allowed.
What was the reason behind the insurance companies?
Why.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
We got rid of PIP 2 years ago, and then the governor vetoed the legislation, and it was political because he was running for office at the time. And a lot of people that have that crappy insurance or no insurance, then all of a sudden they're going to be paying more money because the law, as it was passed, was you have to have, I think it was 25,000 per person, 50,000 per accident of BI coverage, and the tort threshold was out the window. And I know the doctors didn't like it because doctors like PIP, but we liked it. But it got vetoed, and the veto never got overrun. But Florida is one of the worst states in that regard because it requires you to have BI coverage, minimum of 10, 20, which is nothing, but it doesn't require insurance companies to sell it. So they sell you coverage, and people come in and say, I want the cheapest. Of course, the cheapest is not going to have it, so they're buying insurance that doesn't have BI.
Or even when you say I want full coverage, they never mention you. So you have full coverage,
Right.
and you think, and then something happens, and then the other person doesn't have insurance. And then you're just like, what's you? I've never heard of this.
And there's
No one ever offered it on the phone. And then you have to ask for it. So it's,
Right.
even the term full coverage should be.
And that term, there's no definition for it. You throw it around all the time. What's the definition of full coverage? To me, it's having everything that they sell. But
Exactly. Is it full
but-
coverage?
that's what clients tell me, but I had full coverage. No, he didn't.
Exactly. And they don't even say full coverage is this. If you would like this, then is this. This is it.
Yeah.
They don't explain anything,
But-
any of that.
But sometimes people just, I want the cheapest. So then I don't even try to sell all the other stuff because they want to beat
They just
out
wanna sell.
somebody else just to make the sell. Because they want to sell.
They make you get
I think people can afford it. If everybody had it, then it would be more affordable too. Because right now we're paying for people that are driving out
That
without
don't have
it.
it.
Doesn't make any sense
That
to me.
makes sense.
I have because whoever crashes into me is probably not going to have BI.
I have
kinda-
it too,
Yeah,
by the way.
that's fine.
You
That was
should.
my question.
Should have.
There should be a commercial about that.
They're never gonna lie.
I know,
They're just-
but there should. So now let's dive into today's topic. Social media has become a powerful tool in personal injury cases, and not always in a good way. Anything we post online can have serious legal consequences. In many cases, attorneys have used social media content to challenge a plaintiff's claim about their injuries or emotional distress. For example, photos of someone on vacation or engaging in physical activities, even if those were taken before the accident, can be presented as evidence to question the severity of the injuries. Sometimes even the most innocent posts, comments, or tag photos can be used to question credibility or suggest a more active lifestyle than what's being claimed in court. So I wanted to first ask you if you have how has social media affected your profession in the time that you have been practicing?
Well, it's affected some cases that we've had, and it affects the instructions that we give to the client at the beginning of a case. We know for a fact that the adjusters just routinely look at social media to see if they can get any
So it's a
information.
normal routine that they now do.
It's become normal where
It's
before
become-
it wasn't. Yeah,
Got it.
100%.
In the
Last few years, social media's been around more than that, but in the last
Yes.
few years, it's become pretty standard for everyone all the adjusters to check social media.
So will you say some of your cases has impacted positively and others negatively, or
We have, mostly negatively. I see a situation like I'm standing here and there's a big field in front of me, long field. At the end equals successful case resolution. And the goal is to get from here
To there.
to over there without hitting what I'll call a landmine. And social media is a landmine. And you mentioned surveillance before. Surveillance is another landmine. And along with surveillance is all these cameras that are proliferated nowadays, which could be the dash camera, the cameras on the streets, cameras on buildings, ring cameras. So those three types of surveillance are like landmines for us to try to overcome, to not hit, because you hit one, you can die, or you can make
And
it to
the
the end,
video
but you're
game-
missing an arm or leg. Made it, but it's good.
is
But
it
I have examples of actually one of each that it's
if you want to
affected.
share, feel free to share.
Yeah, I could share.
I was
It's
gonna say,
anything
is
private.
it common, let's say, of that they go and want evidence from like cameras where they work, or
No.
that's that no.
Where they work is not common.
No?
Not common. No, but I'm trying to think. For social media, I had a client. She got married, and what do you do after the wedding? You go on the honeymoon. So, yeah, what do you do on the honeymoon? Well, aside from spending a lot of time in the room, which is what she should have done, she spent a lot of time out of the room doing very adventurous things with the
Like
husband,
both, okay.
meaning day one, it was like the Wave Runner, and it's on video.
The runner.
They documented a long hike through the forest and how many miles it was. Day 3, the banana that you hang on for dear life is being towed behind the boat. It's like, what's next? So after we did a demand, the adjuster then sends a response, and attached to it is color photos from the social
honeymoon.
media, from the honeymoon. Oh boy.
They got free pictures for the
Free
honeymoon.
pictures. Yeah. So we were able to settle the case. So I'm not dropping the case. We were able to settle it, but it affected the value of the case. Even though I tell people at the very beginning, be careful. And in terms of a case that did cause us to close the file, destroyed the case completely. There was a gentleman, he was living in the Keys, and he came here up to Aventura. He went to Publix, and he said he slipped and he fell, and they called fire rescue. He went to the hospital and everything, and he said he was in a lot of pain, and he said that it definitely got captured on the store video because he's got a friend there that works at the store, and his friend told him about it. So that's kind of coincidence. Your friend's there, but that's good to know. And I allowed a statement to be taken from him. I normally don't allow statements.
From who?
From our client.
Okay.
They were pushing. We wanted a statement just as to how it happened. So I'll allow it because there was something didn't sit right. So the adjuster comes to the office for an in-person statement, and I immediately know that he's from Special Investigations, like the area where I used to work. So that's a red flag for me. So he starts the interview, and he asks the client if he's ever been convicted of a felony or any crime involving dishonesty. And he said, no, never. And then the adjuster says, well, isn't it true between 1975 and 1982 you're in federal prison for bank robbery? Oh, yes, I forgot.
7 years?
Anything else? Any other arrests? No, nothing. Isn't it true between 1985 and 1990 something you're in federal prison for another bank robbery? Oh, yes. So it's going downhill from there.
A third of his life, and he
Forgot. So then he says, let me show you the video of the accident. Is this you? And he looks, and yes, this is me. So in the video, we see he goes into the aisle in Publix where the water is. And there's some people at the end of the aisle, and he's looking around like this. He leaves, comes back, and now there's nobody in the aisle. So he goes up to where the waters are, and there's this looks like a shiny thing in his hand. He goes like this motion, then he throws himself to the floor, and the water's coming down. So as soon as I saw that, here's a card for a friend of mine who does criminal law. If you get arrested for this, then give him a call. But I'm out. There's no saving.
Thank you for sharing your story.
There's not a case we can save.
Of course.
So that was an example of how they use the CCTV cameras to capture something negative and destroy a case. I see social media like surveillance too, because you're surveilling yourself. You're taking video of yourself, or somebody has taken video of you, and you're posting it online for the world to see. And then sometimes it's negative, and you allow the insurance company to pluck it and to use it against you. And surveillance is when the insurance company hires a private detective to follow you around to see what you're up to. We had a case, which is a good friend of mine. She fell in her condo building. I don't know if it was second story, third story where her building is, but she takes the stairs, not the elevator. And on Christmas Day, as she was getting to the bottom, she slips and breaks her ankle. It's a bad fracture. And our case was that the stairs was missing the non-skid tape. Some of them had it, but where she slipped, they didn't have it. So that was her whole case. And during the pendency of the case, we took it to litigation. They got surveillance on her, and they used it against her in 3 ways. The first is that she testified in deposition that she always hangs onto the rail.
And she did.
And in the video, she's going up and down, and she's not holding onto the rail. And the second, they had her at Sawgrass Mills, one of the longest malls, walking the mall, and she looked pretty normal walking. And then the third surveillance, they got her at the gym, and she was 45 minutes on the treadmill. She wasn't running, but she was walking at a good pace. Mm-hmm. So we were able to overcome it because the video at the mall wasn't continuous video. So we asked the guys, so where's the video when she sat down to take a break? No, she never took a break. Well, we have to trust you then because you didn't shoot continuous video. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be better for you if she didn't take a break to shoot continuous video so you can show us that she walked this whole mall without taking a break? Mm-hmm. So why would you cut and stop the video if you're getting her walking the mall like they said she was? So we're able to combat it that way. The surveillance at the gym, we were able to talk to the orthopedic surgeon who did the surgery, and he said he told her that she should exercise, and she's doing exactly what I told her to do. Okay. So they thought it was a great video. It turns out it wasn't that great because the surgeon, the guy who actually did the surgery, is not somebody we chose or found. Mm-hmm. The doctor signed this emergency surgery to him. He told her, this is what you need to be doing. And he's happy to see that she was doing it. Mm-hmm. But the judge, this was before Judge Lando, it was her last trial before she died. She had brain cancer at the time. Oh, wow. And she called us in and she said, this surveillance is really bad. Where were you guys at mediation? Because she wanted to see if we can settle the case. She doesn't think this case should go to the jury. And our client was like, wow, the judge thinks this. Because I didn't think it was that bad. I thought we were overcoming it. The judge thinks this, I got to reconsider. And the attorney said, well, we were at 100,000 and then we had rejected it. And she says to them, talk to your adjuster and see if we can put that money on the table, put it back on the table. And if they had put it on the table, I think our client would have taken it. So they had to talk to the adjuster overnight. The next morning, the adjuster says, nope, you didn't take it at the time we offered it. Now we're offering you 70,000. And her bills are 60-something thousand. So I was happy to see that they didn't put that money on the table because the client may have pushed us to settle the case. So we went to finish the trial the next day, and she got awarded almost 600,000 in the case. So that's an example of it looks like bad surveillance, but we're able to overcome it and succeed at the end.
How long does this entire process if you remember?
That case from the beginning, it was maybe 4 years to the time I got the trial.
Wow.
3 or 4 years. We had a case that went
15.
It was trial.
Oh my God.
Well, we didn't start the case. We took over, but it went to trial. It got appealed to the 3rd District and went to the Florida Supreme Court and got bounced back to trial. So it went all through all the court system in Florida. And went back to trial. It was a wrongful death case. Oh. It was a principal and her husband, who was a teacher. They both had been working public schools for 30-something years, and they had just retired. Mm-hmm. And they were driving up to Orlando to, I don't know if they have family or just to go to the parks. And on the way there, on the opposite side, coming south, was a tanker that just filled up in Port Everglades. It was full of gas. And somebody cut the truck off, and the truck made a sharp left right through the guardrails like a knife through butter. And you see guardrails, and you think, that guardrail's protecting me. Didn't protect them. It went right through the guardrail, nothing. And it went maybe 50, 100 yards to the median, because the south and north lanes were not that close together. Mm-hmm. It went through the whole median and into the northbound lanes and hit them head on. And they died on right impact. Yeah. So that case, it was a very long case.
And it was passed on to you. You didn't start the case.
No, it was afterwards. The son fired the original attorney, and then we took over.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And
we settled the case, but it's a story for another podcast.
3 more stories with Julio.
I'll tell you a little bit. The son was not happy with the panel. Mm-hmm. And like I said before, sometimes we talk to the jury in voir dire, asking questions. And the answers are shocking to us. And one of the people said, I don't believe in payment for wrongful death. People die, get over it. Things happen. That's what he was saying. Mm-hmm. And our client, he was a former professional football player, big guy. He was still big after a few years out of the league. And you could see he's fuming. And at the end, we got a jury. Sometimes you get a better jury than others, and this jury was so because a lot of very conservative people that don't necessarily help us. And we picked a jury. He agreed to the jury. And within a few minutes, he said, no, I changed my mind. We told him, no, they've already been impaneled. There's no changing of your mind. We got to go forward. He starts raising his voice. And the judge calls a recess, tells us to go in to talk alone with the client. And things happened. Furniture flew. Things happened in the room. The police came from every single courtroom within seconds. It was full of police. So mistrial, of course. But we were able to still settle the case, and the client was really thankful and appreciative of us. And my partner, who we had problems with in that room, he bought him a bulldog statue for him. Bulldog, this is for you. Because he was able to stand up to him when he was wrong in the moment. And he respected us for it. And we were able to settle the case. It didn't go to trial. We were able to resolve the case to his content. He was happy.
After 15. Oh my God. Wow.
Because after that, then we'd have to, who knows how long, until we get it scheduled again for trial.
Oh, of course. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's so sad. Do you usually give any piece of advice to your clients when they sign with you about social media and all of this and surveillance?
The first advice is to not be on social media, but that's not practical
Now addiction,
for a lot of people
right? Now,
anymore.
don't drink water.
So
that's crazy. We're in that era. Yes, that's right.
We are. We represent a couple of influencers, so for sure they're not going to be off.
That's their job.
And we have other people like personal trainers and the people that use social media for their jobs, so they're not going to be off of it. The other people that they just live their life on it, so they're not going to be off of it. So the advice is to be off, but if you can't be off, then to at least look at your privacy settings are and adjust your settings and make sure people can't easily access whatever site you're on. Don't accept any friend requests. Don't follow anyone until the case is over, because you don't really know 100% who you're following and who you're allowing in as a friend. You might have a picture, but you don't know who that person really is. No. So a private investigator could do a lot to be able to get into your social media. So we tell them that. Tell their friends not to post about them, and not to post any photos or mention them, link anything to them at all.
And even if it's previous stories or from the past, you might link, if you posted today, but it was a month ago, you might link them to today.
And ethically, I cannot tell someone to delete the social media or delete this post. I can't. So we have to be very careful how we treat it. And I can't even hint. It would be really bad if this insurance company sees this photo or this video. I can't even do that because that's really unethical. So it's a pretty clear ethical line.